have to powder our heads. Get the shine off. Oh, Roger, come on. Oh, wrong button. Reasons. Sports Maven. We are live. We are streaming video live, courtesy of Viner Consulting, and what a great job. Picture, I'm waiting for it to come up because I'm on the 1 minute delay too. But Wayne, what a great job. We just had our debut in DC. Good response. Once again, we are live on the screen. Go to terptalk.com, and you will see it right now. Right, you go to terptalk.com, you click on that button that Bruce put up there to watch it live, and you will see Koon's Ford presents the Sports Maven here on 1300 CBS Sports Radio in Charm City. All right, well, Wayne, I'm waiting for it to load. Does it take a little while? You know, we'll know. We don't know, but we just did the show in Washington, and we clicked over to do it here live in Baltimore. So if anybody out there wants to take a look, you can always hit us on Twitter at, well, Bruce, you want to give out your Twitter handle? Yeah, at Terp Talk. All right, at Terp Talk. Or you can hit me at terptalkradio.com. I'm going to hit it right now. There it is. We're up. We're up. All right, Wayne, great job. Proud of you. Super. Well, I'm going to do a shout-out here to my team back in Rockville, which is Luis Morones, Eric Moberg, Stu Judd, who's monitoring the show today from Rockville. We're here in Baltimore, and I'm telling you that, boy, the O's lose yesterday, and then to find out that Manny, boy, getting a knee operation. That's some tough news, Bruce. How you handle it? Well, I tell you, it's tough, and I'll tell you why. It's his second operation. It's two, you know, you only have two knees, and now he's both have been operated on, and I did believe that for 3 weeks or so that we thought we might be missing Manny, that we could probably survive. And, yeah, putting Chris Davis in and hitting 192 as your starting third baseman made sense for a couple of weeks or 6 games, but for the rest of the season, can you see going to the World Series with Chris Davis playing third base every day? I hope so. I hope so. I got my tickets yesterday for the playoffs, and wow, it's just exciting when finally you look at playoff tickets and think, well, maybe there's that chance that we could be in the World Series with the home field advantage because of the All-Star win. And I don't know. You know, it was a tough loss yesterday against Jake Arrieta, who's been pitching lights out, 7-4 in the National League. What that corresponds to the American League, we don't know. But we've seen some of these National Leaguers come over, and there's not been success. Jason Hamill has gotten clobbered upon his return. This guy, Smarja, 7 runs on Wednesday night he gave up in 1 2/3 innings. This is something Freddie probably can give more color to. But playing the National League, where there's always one out with the pitcher, and the batting averages just don't seem to be as high. We also have that 8th place hitter is never a 300 hitter, it seems like. It's always a marginal hitter. Boy, does that help your ERA. But, well, you got, that's almost, those two batters are 20%. Whereas with the Orioles, you're facing Caleb Joseph or Pedro Scope, or, you know, Jonathan Scope. Right. I'm thinking of Pedro Stroop. All right. Well, shut us down last night. Yeah. But was his hat on straight? I didn't even know there was a game on. I've all of a sudden at about 4:30, I get a text from the Orioles. Orioles only send out texts on positive vibes. In other words, if they're losing, in other words, if there's a game and you're not getting texts from the Orioles, I guarantee you they're losing. And that's what happened yesterday. I forgot it was a day game.
You know, we were going to go. That's the game. We were going to go to Chicago, and, well, here we are in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think the Orioles left the bats someplace.
Well, Arrieta pitched great in the bullpen, although in the ninth inning, from what I didn't see it, but I heard there were two fantastic plays that could have started a rally for the Orioles. Never go down easy. Never. Cruz hit a home run last night, and I think Davis had a hit or two, got robbed of one. So we need Davis now. We really need Davis to pick up the bat more than anything else. Third base, I don't know. You could get to a point where if he starts having problems at third base, you might have to go with Flaherty at third base.
Yeah, you might. I like Davis when he filled in for Markakis for, 3 years ago. He played some right field for us. Just get the job done, but you got to bring your bat. I mean, you're not going to say, oh, Davis is a glove guy over there, and we can live with a 190. He's not Bert Campaneris, who can hit 190 and stay on the field, or Mark Belanger.
Well, let me tell you something, okay? Last night, I don't know if you saw it, but Minnesota defeated Detroit 21-6 or something of that level. And they brought
for two?
They list baseball this season.
Oh, okay.
And they bring in an infielder to pitch the top of the ninth there, bottom of the eighth inning. And so anyway, this guy, when I tell you he was just lobbing him in, he was just taking a slow motion, if you're watching on TV, and just throwing it like that, real simple. And they hit a couple home runs that were just absolutely incredible. He could not get anybody out. It was hysterical.
I'll go check the video on that one.
I'll tell you what wasn't hysterical, though, yesterday. This Ndamukong Suh, did you see his hit?
No.
He had a hit to the chest of Chad Henne. And it was like he got flagged for it. He drove his helmet into his chest. I don't know how Chad Henne, it reminded me of the hit on CJ last year, if you remember, where the Florida State guy did not get a penalty. Well, he got a penalty on this. He absolutely waylaid him. And how Ndamukong Suh can still be in the game and not get suspended every time. This was a cheap hit, unnecessary hit, in the chest with the helmet. Unbelievable.
Well, he's a guy, he's got a lot of penalties. He's starting to remind me of an NHL goon. But before we get too far from the Orioles, just want to give a shout out to our buddy Jim, who helped get me started in the radio stuff. He's on his way back from Chicago right now. He managed to get out there and see the game yesterday, but he's coming back. I want to get the one game in.
Yeah, my buddy Roman just texted me that watching on TV live. All right. All right. Hoyer taking over Johnny Football. This will last about 2 weeks. Really? Johnny Football is going to be the starting quarterback for that team unless Hoyer pulls miracles, and he got a big break on game one because probably the two Steeler running backs, Blunt and Bell, are going to be suspended for that first game. That's the normal one-game marijuana suspension. I'm not a proponent, or I'm not an opponent of legalizing marijuana. I don't know enough about it, but I do believe NFL players use it medicinally. I really believe that, as well as recreationally, but just to tone the body down. Yeah. And I wonder how many really use it. I would bet that number would stagger a lot of people.
Well, I was heard Chris Cooley talk about this, and he said, look, you can do whatever you want. Chris Cooley was a former All-Pro tight end for the Redskins, retired 2 years ago. So, but that isn't the shame of it. But you don't drive around in your car smoking it and get pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the stupid part. You should be suspended for being that stupid. Whether or not you should be using the stuff, it's a personal choice in America right now.
In your home, but not in your car, not while you're driving, not when you can. You got a ticket for driving under the influence, and it's just sad.
You should have. LeGarrette Blount, he's the guy who got in trouble at Oregon for punching an opposing player. He was a Boise State player. He was supposed to be the featured back for the Tampa Bay Bucks. That didn't really work out. Now he's in Pittsburgh, so another guy with a lot of talent that just can't really seem to keep himself out of trouble.
Again, we're on Koon's Ford presents the Sports Maven, and the only thing that'll make it perfect is have Koon's Ford sign up here, which Dennis Galatz has promised me.
Hey, I've got a Ford truck. I couldn't get through the door of the studio. We're going to put it right behind you.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe next week. Well, no, we opened up the window and put it right there. Jim Harbaugh. What a story here that the guy who has been so successful except for winning the Super Bowl, which is a big except, is kind of like on thin ice in San Francisco.
Yeah, he doesn't seem, the attitude that he has while coaching, which is a little bit combative and a little back and forth, doesn't work so well at the executive suite level. I think if you want to be combative with the ownership and the general manager of your team, eventually, unless you keep winning Super Bowls, you're going to be out of a job. I know you put an article up on Terp Talk that outlines that.
Yeah, let me read this one little paragraph here. The men, this is GM Trent Baalke, the men are barely speaking, I'm told, and almost all the communication is through email. Harbaugh also has strained relationship with team president Parag Morath, and he has clashed within the organization. It could prove untenable. If anything, the impression I got this week is that the situation is much worse than how it's being portrayed, and helps explain the delay in giving a new deal to the coach, who has 2 years left on a contract he has out before him. This is going to be one of those circumstances like Steinbrenner or Billy Martin, where Billy Martin was always successful, but he just could not get along with Steinbrenner, and he's going to be gone. I mean, Harbaugh.
Well, Harbaugh was looking. He's going to be gone. He's trying to get out of there. Yeah. You can tell when your name comes up, and you've said this about other people we're not going to get into right now, but if your name comes up for every coaching vacancy or GM position or wherever you are, there's a reason for it. It's not a mistake. So when they said, oh, he might go back to college, oh, he might go to the Browns, oh, Harbaugh might go here or there, it's because he's trying to find a way out of this, and he needs more control. I guarantee you the next job he gets, he's going to ask for more player personnel control so he doesn't have these run-ins.
You're probably right. Not positive, but I'm going to say this much. Jim Harbaugh, if I had to take a guess, will not be in San Francisco next year. And has it reflected on the field? Yeah, I think it has. I thought they were really bad against the Ravens, although the offense looked pretty good the first series. That's all we saw of it. Mm-hmm. But the defense didn't look that great. The hitting wasn't that great. You take a look at Seattle. Wow, they're on all cylinders, Wayne.
So you think they're going to – it's early. The NFL hasn't even started yet, but everybody's saying, oh, Seattle's going to repeat. That's awfully early to say something like that.
It is awful early. It's awful hard to repeat, too. You know, injuries get to you. It seems like the first year when you win the title, you avoid injuries, and then all of a sudden things happen. And the one thing is, though, they are driven. They are driven by Richard Sherman. There's no doubt about it. And if he reminds you of a Ray Lewis type guy as far as motivation goes and confidence and hitting ability, and of course he's a shutdown corner. But that team's going to be tough to beat. Do I think they will repeat? No, I really, really don't. And I hate to say this, but we might see a repeat of the Super Bowl from last year because Denver's defense is looking like it's stepping up. Well, really stepping up.
They put money into it.
What else?
They put their focus on that. And look, I'm not going in and making Super Bowl predictions at this point, but it's a long season. Man, that NFL season, woo! And people get hurt, and there's no replacement. There's no backup when you lose. If they lose Russell Wilson, it's...
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. One injury, you're as good as injury to your left tackle, your starting quarterback. It's not like other sports that quarterback is the fulcrum.
And if they add, as you've been saying, cut down the preseason, put another game or two, or put in that rivalry game in the regular season for the NFL, an 18-game regular season is so darn long that you're going to really have to expand the rosters. We were talking on the DC show, there's 53 people making NFL rosters, so over 16 teams. Considering the population of America and the world, that's not a lot of guys. We're talking 900 guys make an NFL roster. And on Sunday, only 46 of them are active. One of them's a kicker, one's a punter, and one's a long snapper. So you have 43 positions active, and you're going to try and play 16 games with 43 guys. That is a mountainous effort to keep that team together. When you look in college, in the Big Ten, 70 players make the team, make the travel team. It's almost twice of what you get in the NFL.
Hey, Wayne, we got to talk about this because Phil Simms, Greg Gumbel, Tony Dungy, all of them will no longer use that dreaded nickname of Washington.
Hail to the Redskins, fight for old DC.
Yeah, I hear you. They're coming into town tonight, and I'm sure we'll hear the song. But when you hear this rumbling that a lot of the announcers will not be saying the name, there's something to that, Wayne. I think the name is coming to an end. I don't care what Danny Snyder says. When you have that kind of groundswell, and you know it's the kind of thing that everybody's going to pick up on.
Right, because people are out there looking for a cause, and they've got one.
Yeah, and it looks like it's coming to the end. So,
well, buy your merchandise now. It might become a collector's item.
yeah, but the new stuff will come out. But I can't imagine. I guess there'll be a monetary setback if the name is dropped, but I can't imagine why.
I don't know how.
If they're named the Warriors or the...
Well, the Red Tails after the Air Force gang of fighter pilots. If you came out with... One of the reasons that a team like the Wizards, who were the Bullets, changed their name, or people come with new colors, or an alternate jersey, is to make money. It's not really a fashion show, it's a money-making show. I'd have to believe, even though I'm against changing the name for the moment, I don't want to get into that, but if you came out, changed the name, and put out new jerseys, hats, you'd make a fortune. You wouldn't lose money.
You know what? They got to change the name. I'm telling you, they just got to. It's just if you're offending even 10% or 15% of the Indian nation, which I think it's probably more than that. Yeah, I mean, Snyder comes up with these organizations that are like saying, well, we're honored to be called Redskins.
Right. There's a lot of high school teams in the Indian areas, New Mexico, Arizona, etc., that actually name their own team the Redskins. But
gotta go. It's gotta go. All right, gotta head out to our first break. When you select, hey, maybe we should give Donald Science, who'll represent in the Indian Nation against Danny Snyder. That'd be a good battle.
That probably would be, because he could come in here is it next Sunday?
Next Sunday. Two Sundays, September 7th.
Donald Science.
In the Nest.
Science and Kirk presents In the Nest on this airwaves Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock.
And it will get you in for a few streamings. I won't make you come in all the time.
When the Redskins win the week before, I'll come in.
In selecting a professional, you always look to the backgrounds of the persons involved, particularly involving their experience, competence, and established performance. In Maryland, there's only one number one leader with regard to personal injury claims. That's the firm of Science and Kirk. Science and Kirk have handled more auto accident cases than any law firm in the history of the state. Donald and his three sons make a formidable team representing their clients. Call their hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS. That's 1-800-LAWYERS. Science and Kirk, remember, In the Nest starts September 7th, where we will preview the Cincinnati and Pittsburgh game that will occur on that Thursday. We'll be back here in a few moments here on CBS Sports Radio 1300. a tree or anything landscaping, my family always uses Gene Williams of EJW Landscaping. Gene's reliable, his pricing is reasonable, and most of all, Gene really cares about your situation. Call Gene Williams of EJW at 443-570-9042 and let EJW Landscaping take care of your lawn needs. That's Gene Williams and EJW Landscaping, 443-570-9042. No one ever asked to be injured. When this situation is thrust upon you or a member of your family, you have a right and duty to protect yourself and your family from financial harm. Science and Kirk will provide immediate assistance in getting medical care, securing lost wages, and advising on property damage and claim analysis. Call Science and Kirk's free hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS. I have known Donald for over 50 years, and believe me, there is no one better to represent you than my man, Donald Science. Again, In the Nest starts very, very soon, in 2 weeks, same day as the Bengals game against the Ravens. All right, we're 1 week away from Maryland football. Darian, come on in for a few minutes because you've been covering Maryland for us fantastically. And we got Darian Cozier. All right, our producer who also covers the Maryland Terrapins for 105.7, 1300, and Turf Talk. So, Darian, were you shocked yesterday? Laverne Jacobs and Alex Twine were charged with second-degree assault. That had to be disheartening to Randy Edsall after a really clean preseason.
Yeah, I was shocked because I think we've been saying this all summer that, and I know Wayne pointed this out all summer that, we've kind of gone through the whole summer with no incidences, no injuries, no, arrests. But like he said, you got to stay out the bars. I know these are college kids. Listen,
we don't know that they were in the bar.
Well, we don't know. We don't know that. But I'm assuming that we're just assuming. But again, that we went through this whole summer without any incidents, and I know it has to be disheartening to Edsall because you talked to him the whole summer. When I interviewed him, he just kept talking about how the team has been injury free this whole summer. No issues, just looking forward to
great chemistry.
Looking forward to the season, and all the players were upbeat, and just looking forward to everybody being together. When the season starts. So,
whatever. Well, we're sharing the mic, so Darian can actually be on the air. Usually he's behind the glass, and you do a great job as being our producer. So, Laverne Jacobs, who was going to get some run at the outside wide receiver spot, and Alex Twine. Between the two of them, Alex Twine, who's the primary backup inside linebacker for L.A. Gorey and for Cole Ferran, that's probably a bigger loss if anything happens. Now, they've been indicted. They've been charged. And the hearing is October the 3rd. So for the Edsall regime, I think that it's one of the few times where it's been a wait-and-see attitude as opposed to just saying, okay, you guys got in trouble, you're going to sit down for 6 weeks.
Well, look, they're both entitled to hearing whatever side of the story they have. We don't know anything, so we don't know what happened. But whenever you're charged with second-degree assault, it's not positive, okay? So it's not a good thing, and I'm very disappointed for Randy that this had to happen, and just I don't get it, but it did, and he's just got to overcome it. Now, next week is the first game against James Madison U, and the scuttlebutt you hear, Darian, is that it should be a walkover almost.
Yeah, I'm hearing, like I said, 40-7, 40-10. Some people even saying that we might shut them out. Like I said, I heard James Madison is really not that good, and just even on paper, I've looked at them and looked at what they did last year. We should win pretty handily. I don't know if we're going to blow them out or win by the scores that people are saying or shut them out, but we should win at least by 2 touchdowns. I don't see their defense stopping our offense, not with our receiving core.
Well, as I said before on the last show, the Maryland offense, if you play a team that doesn't tackle well in the secondary, and there are teams like that, the Maryland offense is unstoppable. There's too many weapons. There's too many one-on-ones. Deion Long, Stephon Diggs, Tavon Jacobs, Marcus Leak.
Hey, let's talk about Tavon, who's the surprise of the camp. You've been to practice several times. Is he as good in person as people say that he is? Is he as fast as we've heard?
I'm going to go on a limb and say he's even better. I mean, the guy, step to step, you can't stay with him. I mean, he's literally burning our guys in Maryland secondary in practice. Like, you can't stay with him. He's that fast, at least from just my eye, the eye test. The guy, and I think you said this in a previous show, that if you're going to double Stephon, good luck, because you leave him one-on-one.
He's going to burn you.
Good night, yeah.
CJ told me that he could take the snap, take his two-step, throw it as far as he can, and Tavon will be waiting for the ball. He can't out-throw him.
Well, I mean, if you got Diggs on one side, and Darian said he thinks he could be just a bit quicker than Diggs, you have Jaquil Vay, who's lightning quick in the slot. So you put Diggs, Long, Tavon Jacobs, and Jaquil Vay out there. I don't know who can stay with these guys. Will Likely, who's a shutdown corner, had a little trouble with them in the scrimmage game last week.
He sure did. I guess we'll see what happens, but all things are positive for the University of Maryland right now. Thanks for your report, Darian. I appreciate it. Wayne, let's take a look at Tony Stewart for a second. Is his career over?
I don't follow NASCAR that much, but boy, there's been some blowback on him.
Well, he killed somebody.
Well, but we didn't, once again, like you said about the kids at Maryland, not that this is in the same class as that, the jury's still out figuratively on what happened there, whether he actually saw him or he didn't see him. But that's got to be hard to come back from as a driver, and boy, the community doesn't seem to be behind him. What's your take?
Yeah, my take is that because he's, number one, so wealthy, he's been so successful, that he might not get over this. In other words, he might not want to look to say that, this is over, or he doesn't want to say this is done. I think that it could be done. He could be finished because he can. In other words, financially he can be finished.
Most of these guys are so competitive that he might be finished. Maybe he doesn't want to go back on the NASCAR circuit because every question's going to be. It's going to be a Tiger Woods type thing where every question was about what happened and why did he crash the Escalade and what's going on. Every question.
This is different, though. Somebody died. A 17-year-old kid died.
It is different. It's up a degree or two from that, but it's not going to be that type of media scrutiny. I don't think you can get more scrutinized than what they did to Tiger Woods.
Except that Tiger, in the case of what happened with his wife, was the victim. Whatever she did to him.
Well, he precipitated the.
No, I know that, but he turned out to be, his career was affected because he got hit in the head with a golf club or whatever happened.
Okay. And I think Tony Stewart's.
But this guy, Tony Stewart, Tiger didn't kill anybody.
That's why I said this is a little worse. But the scrutiny I can't imagine being anybody more scrutinized than Tiger Woods over that incident.
Yeah, probably. But this incident's going to be scrutinized. There's no doubt about it.
That bad. Every place he goes when he dies, it might say 8-time NASCAR champion, whatever he is, who killed a man.
Yeah, it'll be in the obituary.
Right, it's the first or second phrase in the obituary.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Speaking about the history of sports or whatever, anything, this is the 25-year anniversary of the Pete Rose ban from Major League Baseball.
Art Giamatti bans Pete Rose.
Should it end? Has he paid his price? Has he paid his, is he...
No.
Forever banned.
He is one of the least contrite people you could ever. I'm not sure what it take him 23 years to actually admit that he did what he said he didn't do.
25 years it's been. It's almost unbelievable.
Do you think that the character clause? Since he gambled on baseball, which I guess is the one thing you can't do. That's just it. Whether there is no going back on some things, and that's one of the things that you can't go back on.
Well, a lot of people argue that he bet on his own team, but even if you bet on your own team, if you affect the way you play the game and you use, say, 2 pitchers to win a game and you mess up your schedule for the next day,
right,
then you have affected
it's
your
also
team.
Because you get hooked up with people who can exert undue influence upon you in the gambling world. It's not just the gambling, it's the group of people that brings with it. once you break that rule, that's it.
Speaking of gambling, the Horseshoe's opening up this week. And interesting to see how that's going to do with how that's going to affect Maryland Live. Horseshoe, of course, for those of you who don't know, is the Baltimore casino that's opening downtown by M&T Bank Stadium. And
I did not know that.
you are living in a strange world if you don't know that.
I'm over the other beltway.
All right. Well, the Horseshoe.
Is Hammerjack still there? That's my Baltimore question.
I don't know.
No, it hasn't been there for 20 years.
I don't know.
Continue.
So anyway, the new casino's opening up. There's going to be Caesar's Palace, and from what I hear, it's a show place, an absolute show place. Will it affect Maryland Live? No, it will not. You know why? In the state of Maryland, you're going to have Perryville, you're going to have the Horseshoe, you're going to have Maryland Live, and you're going to have this one in D.C.
Right, at National Harbor.
Right.
I went by that construction site, and my God, National Harbor is gorgeous.
You're going to have 4 casinos. Well, and you're going to have, what's the population combine of Washington and Baltimore? 4 million? 3 million?
What's it, the 5th largest market? I think it's 5. I think it's more than that. Because
well,
it goes from what they do is draw a circle sort of from Hagerstown to north of Richmond around Fredericksburg. That's a big geographic area, and there's no casinos in Northern Virginia.
All right, yet. And here's the thing, all right? In Las Vegas, you have 500 casinos in a little town.
But everybody goes there to go do that.
All right? Yeah, but there's too many people that these casinos won't be packed. They'll all be packed. You won't be able to get in Horseshoe. You still won't be able to get in to Maryland Live. Yeah, you can get in, but I don't know. We're getting the word from Darren. We got to go to break. Before we head to the break, once again, as always, I want to thank Koon's Ford for their support. And we were talking about trucks before. Wow, if you need a new truck, Koon's Ford is the place to go. They must have a couple hundred on there.
They do. They have. And that showroom, I went by there a couple of weeks ago. I think I said this maybe last week. But my goodness, what a wonderful car buying experience they have. And the building is fantastic. And it's just surrounded by every type of commercial truck you could find. All the Ford trucks are out there.
Yeah, super place. And Dennis Kalatzis, no one's better in running a dealership than Dennis. And we thank them for their support. This is Bruce Posner. You're listening to Koon's Ford Presents a Sports Maven this Saturday and every Saturday for the past 5 years and going forward. We'll be back in a few minutes here on CBS Sports Radio 1300. The Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, whose goal is to provide the highest quality of care to our patients.
Now, here's the Maven himself, Bruce Posner.
Welcome back here. Wayne, take a minute and tell everybody about Viner Consulting and this great job you've done for me on Turp Talk, or for us, I should say.
Yeah, I think it's for us at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank Stu Judd back in Rockville who's monitoring this, Luis Moronis, Eric Moberg. If you want this type of coverage for your business, if you want to meet your customers online, hold online seminars, do training sessions where you can sit in your office and have your customers watch and engage with you, we can help you do that. We can do that for you. So if it's a website or e-commerce or inventory for your small business, web conferencing, video, graphics, please give me a call at 301-251-2900, or you can find us on the internet at makeyourcompanywork.com.
Tell you one thing, we're looking here on YouTube, I can tell I got to lose some weight.
I can tell I got to find some more hair.
All right, let's get out to the phones right now, talk some O's with my buddy Freddie from Boca. Freddie, welcome in.
Good morning, Maven. Good morning, Wayne. Real quickly, I think the new casino that's going to be built right outside of Washington, depending on the access and the egress, will hurt Maryland Live and hurt the downtown casino. Just because the population out there and the money out there, they're going to go to the closest, nicest place.
Yeah, but it's 50 minutes away. I mean, it's 50 miles away, and it's probably, hour and 15 minutes, Wayne?
From which one to which
the
one?
Washington casino from Baltimore Horseshoe.
I'd say it's 38, 40. It's not all the way into Washington. It's at the end of 95, the end of 495 before you go into Virginia. So I'd say it's 40 minutes away, but you're talking about a completely different, I think it's a completely different set of people.
Yeah, and I don't think those people are coming to Baltimore either to gamble.
The thing is that National Harbor is built as a resort. It's like a mini Las Vegas. There's a Cirque du Soleil that plays there nonstop. There's ice shows. It's a huge Gaylord hotel. If you haven't been there, it's worth going. They built an outlet mall behind there, and now they're going to have a casino. So when you come into town, this is going to be sold as a DC destination. Come here, have your convention, go visit Capitol Hill, and come back to the resort and go gamble. So it's a different market they're after.
Right, and the Horseshoe is going to be mobbed, I'll tell you that, from the get-go. From Jump Street, it's going to be mobbed. And you're right. I guess, look, anytime you have competition, it could take away business from somebody, but these places are so far apart, and it's so many people, I just don't see how. But let's get to something of significance for us right now, and that's the Orioles. Freddie, I'm worried without Manny.
Well, you should be. There's probably 25 to 28 third basemen in baseball that they can't match up to the way Manny plays. But all the teams are flawed with injuries and problems, and unfortunately for the Orioles, Manny's gone. But defensively, I mean, there's no replacement for him per se, but I think Davis will do fine at third base defensively. Now, the offense is another story.
Do you see a situation? We were talking about it earlier. I don't know if you were listening or watching, but can you imagine if I would have said to you before the season start that Matt Wieters was going to miss 120 games, that Davis would be batting 190 with only 21 home runs, and that Manny was going to miss probably half the season before it's done?
Long season, you would think.
Yeah, would you think it would be a below 500 season without question?
Very, no question. You could say that with ease, but it shows you one thing about baseball: it's pitching and defense.
It's two things: pitching and defense. That's what it's all about. And if you don't believe that, I didn't watch the game yesterday. I didn't even know it was on at 2 o'clock. I forgot.
We got out-pitched, and they played excellent defense.
Their defense was unbelievable from what I saw. They made
4 or 5 really exceptional plays. Arrieta pitched just like he's pitched all year long. He was excellent.
Why is he only 7-4?
They average less than 4 runs a game for him. They don't score.
So the top records in baseball, the Orioles have one, the Nationals have one, and they have similar injury concerns, but with Zimmerman out, I don't know when he's coming back. Harper missed a lot.
Why do you keep bringing up like the Nationals and the Redskins and things like that?
Because I'm hoping really for a Nationals-Orioles World Series.
It could happen.
And
I'm not so sure now, though. I'm worried about this team without Manny, Freddie. I really am.
Well, again, they seem to be a pretty resilient team, and I don't think they'll lose a great deal defensively. I mean, they're going to lose defensively, but I think Davis will be fine defensively. It's just the hitting is a bigger question mark because Manny was hitting the ball really, really well this year. But if the pitching holds up, like the other day, Detroit played Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay got one hit and won the game because they got great pitching and defense.
I watched it.
Timely hitting, that's about all. You need a lot of hitting.
Did you watch the game yesterday?
Yep.
Did you think that catcher blocked the plate? It sure looked like it.
It was so close to call because once you have the ball, you can block the plate.
But he didn't have the ball.
It's just hard to tell from the angle. I mean, Palmer thought he blocked, and Gary Thorne thought he didn't. That's how close the call is. They need to certainly clarify the rules a little bit more. And then again, it's the first year for this and first year for replay, so I think in time they'll clarify some things.
I mean, if that play doesn't go and the Orioles score there and they're still up at bat, it's an entirely different game.
Perhaps, yeah, but it is what it is.
I agree with that. So if somebody's going to make a run at the Orioles, I don't know who it is. Toronto looks horrible. I mean, Tampa Bay is 12 games behind the loss column. I mean, I know they're playing well, but they're 12 games behind. It would take a virtual collapse by the Orioles.
Well, that's what it'd be. It has to be a collapse by the Orioles unless somebody gets off, runs off 17 wins in a row, which is unlikely. But it's the Orioles to lose they have the largest lead of any of the division leaders. So it's theirs for the taking if they want it and if they can get it done. Then the question then we go to the playoffs. How badly would they miss Manny? And the questions will come up again about the pitching as far as like teams with a really true ace number one pitcher and a really solid number two compared to the Orioles' solid but not sensational pitching.
Well, the Orioles take their $40 million man, Ubaldo Jimenez, and put him in the bullpen for now. So I don't know if they're just keeping him warm for the playoffs.
Nah, he's there. The only reason he's on the team right now is for insurance if there's injuries. He's not going to play much at all. He's too inconsistent to put into a close game. He's not going to start, so I would think the only time the Bucs really going to use him is either we're way up ahead or way behind.
So do you think, what do you do with him next year? I mean, this wasn't a one-year rental.
Yeah, I hope that, over the winter and spring training with him and the pitching coach and Wallace and Sheedy, the bullpen coach, they can help smooth out his delivery and consistency.
Just got a text. I want to say hello to Caroline, who's watching the show right now. Of course, that's my granddaughter, Freddie, and she's watching her grandpa on the TV.
I hate to reuse material, but I have to do it now.
What?
Freddie, you've never looked better.
All right.
Thank you.
He certainly never has sounded better. I'm not sure how that's working.
I have a face for radio and a voice for newspapers.
No doubt. Freddie, what's your take on the Pete Rose ban? Should it be lifted?
He's just so unlikable. And in baseball for the last, almost 100 years, the one thing you can't do is gamble. You can kill, guys have been involved with murder cases and drugs. Steve Howe 8 times suspended for cocaine. Guys with the steroids, which is the worst problem they've had in baseball since the Black Sox scandal, get 50, 100 game suspensions, but they're not banned from, unless it's they're 3-time losers. You gotta, if you want to let Pete Rose back in, you gotta bring Shoeless Joe back. And if they were to bring Pete back or get him back in baseball and make him eligible for the Hall of Fame, it strictly has to be as a player, unless when he was if they showed he was gambling as a manager player, then no. Otherwise, if there's no proof that he was gambling other than when he's strictly as a manager, I would make him eligible as a player, but and then let the voters decide should he be in or not.
I think
unlikable though.
I think he's one of those guys who might get in 30 years. Just when they'll say, "Well, enough's enough," but as if it matters. But Ravens or Redskins tonight. Let's go to the last couple of minutes about that. I think we're going to see Joe Flacco for at least a half, and we're going to see RG3 for at least a half. So it's one good half of football, and and this will be it. And we've been through this exhibition story for too long, because nobody will play next week.
I'll go with the outsider question. How many people are going to show up if it's raining pretty hard tonight?
Very few. maybe half the stadium or.
But all the tickets are sold, right? Because they have to.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think.
Are the Ravens sold out?
No, they're not. They hold back a couple thousand seats for the general public. I'm not sure how many, but these tickets, it's you have trouble finding people who even want to go to these exhibition games.
Big question is, what's going to be with the Ravens defense this year, I believe?
Well, the secondary is the point in question right now. It looks like Ladarius is, injured again. And it's certainly not a good sign. But and then last week Jimmy Smith got hurt, so we really don't know. And the way the Ravens are, they're so tight-lipped about everything. But I certainly think the linebacking core is going to be super. His kid Mosley looks great, and Courtney Upshaw's got another year of experience, and Smith has been a tremendous plus. I'm looking for good things from the Ravens. Certainly, the 8.5 over/under out of Vegas to me seems ridiculous.
Ridiculously low.
Yes, I think it's the Ravens are not playing that grade A schedule of winning the division like Cincinnati is.
And what you didn't bring up is a lot of upgrades to that offense. But by just bringing in Smith changes the attitude of the offense. Steve Smith at wide receiver.
There's no doubt, and you're going to have Ray Rice back eventually.
The offensive line's got to be better. I mean, they didn't play well at all last year.
Right, Assembly's back, and just everything seems better. A new center, and everything seems positive. But wow, they start off that season with 3 conference games, and you don't have time to regroup from that, Freddie. With Cincinnati, a game where I think the Ravens are only 2-point favorites, which is almost like being an underdog when you're at home. And then you got Pittsburgh coming in, and Pittsburgh certainly looks like they got their share of problems right now, without question, with the 2 running backs who were suspended. And
on the Redskins side, we're just looking for some consistency from RG3, who statistically had a good game against the Browns, but seemed indecisive, a bit confused on the defensive side, and had some happy feet. He was floating in the pocket. But the wide receiver core from the Redskins could be one of the best in the league. They bring in Jackson, who was with the Eagles, who looked like a superstar. Pierre Garçon, a guy who played for Arizona last year, Arizona Cardinals. Andre Roberts had a big game. You still have Santana Moss. And with number 46 in the backfield there, Alfred Morris.
Fumbled a little bit last week.
Well, they threw a toss to him. It looked like his eyes came up to see where he was going to cut, and he never caught the toss. Defense seems somewhat improved, but still a lot of holes back there with some unproven middle linebackers. Defensive backfield not as solid as you could.
Let's just say there's a better shot of a Oriole National World Series than a Redskins Super Bowl.
Earlier you were talking about the potential of the Redskins, nickname changing. I think the biggest problem they face, and why they're hesitant more than anything else, is to find a good nickname that flows and makes sense to go with Washington.
I agree.
Because if you have a name that has a good sound to it, you can market it and you'll sell plenty of stuff. But like the Washington Wizards, I mean, it's alliteration, but it's a lousy name.
It's a horrible name, horrible choice.
Well, Abe Poland said second choice was the Sea Dogs, so I like the Wizards compared to the Sea Dogs.
I don't know. The Sea Dogs might have been bad.
Well, for the way they played for many years, it's probably appropriate.
Freddie, we're out of time, my friend.
All right, boys. Have a good weekend.
All right, take care. Well, Wayne, I got to thank you tremendously. This has been unbelievable, and it's certainly going to attract a new audience that we haven't got. For some reason, people like to watch radio and TV.
They do.
I can't imagine with you and me on the screen, but
Freddie's right. We do have a face for newspapers.
Right, and I want to take a minute to thank Darian for his Maryland report and his production work. A perfect producer for us, that's for sure. And that's it. We will see you next Wednesday for Turf Talk
at 6 p.m. on 1300.
You got it, and of course next Saturday here on the Maven. Take care, everyone. Have a great week.